What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from ActionMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about Apartment 7A, whether you want to or not. Whether the world asked us to or not, we're going to talk about this film. Yeah, it's spooky season. It is. It's spooky season. It's October. And I could have introduced this. I could have done this in the dark. I could have done all those things. I'm not doing it. Fuck you. I'm not doing it for this film. Nope, not doing it. This this is on Paramount Plus. It has audio description done by International Digital Center, written by Liz Gutman and narrated by Jamie Lemchek. I don't know how they got on this film. I don't know why they're on this film. I love Liz. I love Liz. I have worked for IDC. I love Jamie. I have a lot of thoughts. And it has a great actress. Julia Garner stars in this. I love Julia Garner. I think she is somebody who, with the right choices, should be on her way to an Oscar nomination at some point. But she seems to get pulled into projects that are beneath her. I don't know how that happens. She needs to get the right projects. It's weird. She'll get something like Inventing Anna, so she'll get an Emmy nomination, and then she'll follow that with like The Royal Hotel and like Apartment 7A, and I'm like, why can't we get Julia Garner into good movies? Also, why is Dianne Wiest in this? Like, why can't she get offered good movies? She's one of the best actresses working in Hollywood. I literally stopped watching Mayor of Kingstown when they wrote her off the show. So I don't even know what's happening on that show anymore. I was like, no. First of all, she's barely used as it is. If anything, you guys should have been finding a way to try to expand her on the show. So when she exited the show, I was like, no. Nope. I'm out. Bye. So I do love my acting legends, and when you mistreat them, I get very pissy. So for my blind audience today, I am wearing my purple hat backwards, black sunglasses, and I'm wearing a Power Ranger shirt, which is somewhat appropriate for this because this is campy. So Power Rangers are kind of campy. Just the sheer existence of this film. I haven't even told you what it is. I don't even need to review it. I can actually tell you nothing about this film. So a long time ago, I kind of remember them mentioning that this was happening, but I thought it was coming as a series. It's not, it's a movie. And I was like, what is Apartment 7A? And it was just kind of dropping on Paramount Plus. I didn't really see a trailer for it. I just kind of watched things. I was like, what is this? Is this just some straight to... Because Parallel kind of seemed interesting to me, but they didn't put audio description on that, so I didn't watch it. I was just like, well, fuck you. So it's like, why does Paramount have an original movie on here without audio description? What is this? But Apartment 7A had audio description, and it was done by... I was like, oh my god, I know that narrator. That's Jamie Lemchek. I was like, wait, when did they start doing stuff at Paramount? So I was intrigued, and I started watching it, and I was getting into the film, and the film was weird, and I was like, what is this film about? You know, I was like, is this film a horror film? Like, it's so tonally weird in the beginning. It's sort of about a girl who is trying to be famous in a certain time period. And I still haven't told you what this movie is yet, but it made me IMDb it. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my god, that's what that is? Oh my god, it's this fucking thing. Oh, Jesus. So what this is this is the ill-advised and completely unnecessary prequel to Rosemary's Baby, which I thought was happening as a TV show. I thought like Showtime or Paramount Plus or somebody was doing like a limited series, sort of like how they did with oh, I don't know, any of the other like Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies or any of the other like ill-advised properties that they've made into. No, no, it's a movie. Yeah. So the world doesn't need this. Listen, Rosemary's Baby is a classic film. I think I have a review on my channel. I'm trying to think of when did I see Rosemary's Baby last? I think I saw it with audio description. I believe so. Mia Farrow is excellent. Roman Polanski's direction is excellent. It's unnerving. It's not the scariest film that I've seen. Like, I feel like I've seen scarier films, but I get the hype. And I always try to transport myself back to the time period and be like, okay, so if I was in this time period, what would this have been like? Take away everything that I've seen since horror started pushing itself into places, you know? I mean, it's hard to like, you know, take, I don't know, something like Rosemary's Baby but like right before that show somebody The Substance and then show somebody Rosemary's Baby and then they're like, well, the first thing was the second thing is kind of chill now when you really think about it. So this doesn't really have anything to say. It's not very good. They didn't attract any talent to this. It's just Julia Garner, who is stuck in a rather shitty film. This doesn't even need to really be linked to Rosemary's Baby, except for the fact that it would feel like a knockoff of Rosemary's Baby otherwise, because it's like repeating a lot of the same steps as the first film. So, is it the worst thing I've seen? No, because Julia Garner's a good actress, but she's working with nothing. She's basically like, if they told me there was no script to this and she was improvising the whole film, I would believe it. It's a complete waste of time. This film is a waste of time, which is why I was like, I'm not putting this as part of. I'm just going to review it as a typical film. I wasn't scared. It tries. It throws a couple things at you. But it kind of reminded me of last year's Pet Sematary prequel. That was just awful. It kind of reminded me of that. Pet Sematary Bloodline. Where it's just like, why did we make this? Who asked for this? What is happening? Like, you're just like, why on earth does this thing, why did we get this? Is this going to happen every year at Paramount Plus now, where they're just going to like give us a prequel to a classic horror film that nobody needs? We're going to get like Carrie the Young Years next. Like, she's Carrie, but she's 10. You know, like, I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know that I need this. You know, like what is next for you, Paramount? This movie is, yeah, kill it with fire is it's my pull quote. If I was on Rotten Tomatoes, I'd click on it. It's just like kill it with fire. So I didn't like this. The audio description. Listen, Liz is the best in the game when it comes to writing audio description, and she's doing the work. The work is being done there, but it's like describing a white wall to somebody. There's only just so much you can do. You're like, well, the wall's white. It stretches really tall, and it stretches to the left and the right. It's about 8 feet. You know, I mean, like, at a certain point, you're just describing a white wall. You're describing nothing. Like, this film is nothing. And I kind of feel bad, but she really tries to get into the audio description. Now, Jamie is a weird choice of narrator for this because, and I love Jamie, but I would not have picked Jamie for this. Honestly, I don't know that I would have picked anybody for this. I probably would have AI'd this and been like, TTS audio description. I don't want to sully anybody's career resume with, oh, you worked on Apartment 7A. Great. Good for you. But this would have been actually a great opportunity to try out a new narrator. Like, if you had a new narrator and you're like, if IDC was like, oh, well, there's somebody really been wanting to put him on this because no one will care. There's going to be no one who's going to be like, wow, that was excellent. I'm so glad we have this film and it's better than Rosemary. Nobody's going to say that. Nobody's going to be like, wow, it was better than Rosemary's. No, it's not. Shut up and sit down. The problem with Jamie is that Jamie makes it feel like it's a rom-com, and she's way too light. It comes across, and she's one of the reasons. I would say Jamie Lemchek was actually the reason I had to IMDb the film, because I couldn't pick up on what was trying to happen. I had forgotten that I forgot that Apartment 7A was like the name of the Rosemary's Baby prequel, which I knew was happening, but I forgot it was a movie. I did not know I actually thought it was a TV series that they were developing. And so Jamie's tonality, I felt like she was constantly trying to pull me into a comedy. And I was like, this is such a weird clash. And the film is so poorly directed that it almost pulls off as a comedy, or as a like aspiring, like maybe like Center Stage, like if I'm going way back, although this is in a completely different time period than Center Stage. It had the vibes where I was like, oh, this is like Center Stage. She's an aspiring dancer. She wants to be a performer. Oh, cool. So she's gonna live. So it's gonna be like Emily in Paris in New York. I had so many different vibes at the very beginning when I didn't realize what this was. But then every once in a while it would do something that was like unnerving, or like try to be unnerving, that was just a little like off. And then you're like, but what is this? And so finally there was a scene where something, I would say, substantial happened, where I was like, okay, this can't be a rom-com. What the fuck am I watching? So I looked it up and I'm like, oh, I never would have gotten that. Jamie was throwing me so off in another direction, which is not something we should be doing from an audio description perspective. And that's why sometimes casting matters. And I love Jamie. Like, I love hearing her voice, like, 9 times out of 10 on anything. I think she's great. But for this, it actually made me think we were in a completely different genre. And part of that is the film's problem. It's not directed well enough to be able to have Jamie as a director on here. This film needs someone who is actually giving you vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to have vibes with it. It has to have those horror movie vibes. Or just, I also support the fact that this movie is complete and terrible waste of everybody's time. So if you have somebody who you're like, you know what, I'm thinking about using you as a narrator, why don't we see what happens? We'll put you on Apartment 7A. We'll just see. We'll see, you know. See how it goes. So I would have also supported not knowing who the narrator was at all. I've been like, wow, this is a brand new narrator. Cool, they're breaking one in on this film. Well, that's fine, because nobody should watch this anyway. So it gives somebody something to do. They're reading Liz's script, which is great. Yeah, you know, it is. But Jamie actually made me think it was a rom-com. So probably not the intended thing for this. Anyway, don't watch this. This film should not exist. Doesn't need to. It's not good. I'm not failing it because I actually have seen worse this year. This film is just so dull and boring and lifeless. But there are actually bad films. There are films where you really feel like, wow, this film seems like it's trying to suck. And unfortunately, because I've seen stuff like Tarot and The Strangers Chapter 1 and Night Swim and a couple other horror films this year that felt like they were aggressively terrible, Apartment 7A ends up getting sort of a little bit of a higher grade by default, because I have seen films this year that I thought were really, really, really bad. Tarot is awful. Tarot's the only film this year I've still given, still, as of this point, I think I'm 171 films deep this year. It's the only film I failed. Only one. I hate giving the F grade. I do. I'm here to love on films. I'm not here to give bad grades. This is not what I try to do. I know I'm bashing this film right now, and but to give a grade of F is sort of like saying there's not a single redeemable quality in that film at all, and that is what I felt about Tarot. So here I'm gonna say Julia Garner's fine, and bonus points for casting Dianne Wiest. It's a nothing role, but she got a paycheck, so thank you. I'm gonna give Apartment 7A a D+. There you go. If hearing D+ and Rosemary's Baby prequel just really get you going, then head on down to Apartment 7A on Paramount Plus. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys on the other side.